the truth of the matter is just simply this. Life changes. Like all of the time, it does. And coming to terms with this is a critical component of resting well, of living an aligned life, and setting goals that can succeed.
Hi there, I'm Vanessa Kaiser, a ranch girl turned social worker, business leader, and now entrepreneur. I'm passionate about diving into organization, leadership, personal growth, and efficiency. Around here, we call it rhythmic living, that continuous cycle of assessing the season of life that we're in and creating habits, routines, and processes that serve us best. This show is for the busy, the dreamers, the tired, the go-getters, those who want to live fully, grow steadily, and feel inspired each day. Welcome to the Inspiring Heights podcast.
I want to take a second to address a question that just could potentially be roaming through your head. Why are we spending 3 podcast episodes talking about goal setting and planning right now in the fall? Isn't that a conversation more suited for, say, the end of December or the first part of January when we're actually setting new goals and drafting strategic plans for the upcoming year? The answer to this question has many facets, but let me just focus in on 2 big ones. First of all, the conversations we've been having are not exclusive to large strategic planning sessions. They are just very much applicable to planning for this week or this month or the upcoming holiday season. Second, my hope is that you're walking with me away from annualized planning that starts on January 1st, and instead you're starting to embrace the 90-day year, where we focus all of our goals and our planning on just the next 90 days instead of the next 365. With those 2 answers in mind, here's the best news. You don't have to wait until January 1st to get started. Start right away, this week, this month. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 simple ways to make your next planning session, be it for a week, a month, or 90 days, fruitful, life-giving, and aligned. Here we go. Do you ever wish there was a natural, science-backed way to ease aches, boost your mood, and even support healthier skin? I felt the same way until a friend introduced me to LumiBox. Not too long ago, I was venting about long-time ankle pain to one of my girlfriends, and she encouraged me to check out LumiBox, a red light therapy device. She brought it with her for a girls' weekend because this is what it's like to be in your 30s, my friend. I gave it a whirl, and after just a couple of days, I can honestly tell you I was sold. That was the beginning of my journey with this incredible tool for holistic health. Now, LumiBox is a Kaiser family favorite. We use it for everything from soothing aches and eczema to giving our mood a gentle lift on tough days. Here's the deal. LumiBox harnesses the power of red light and near-infrared wavelengths to promote healing deep beneath the skin. Backed by science and loved by so many, it's a simple, natural way to support your mind and body. And for a short time only, LumiBox is offering my listeners an exclusive $260 discount. Just visit LumiBox.com and use the coupon code INSPIRINGHEIGHTS at checkout. Don't wait, this could be your next step towards holistic health. I'll put the link and the coupon code in the show notes. First things first, my unapologetic plug. I have designed a course to walk you through creating a 90-day year. So in this course, we dive deep into all the important areas, extending far beyond just the art of setting up a beautiful plan, though of course you know we go there. But we also talk about the heart behind it all, the pieces of strategic planning and goal setting that often just stay stuck behind the shadows, but are actually the make it or break it pieces of succeeding with our goals. The course officially opens on October 15th. So if you're listening to this podcast before then, I would highly encourage you to get on the waiting list so that you can get the inside scoop and exclusive deals that no one else ever, not in the world, not on the internet, no one is getting. You can join the waitlist by heading over to inspiringheights.org/waitlist. I'll also have this all linked for you in the show notes below. Now, if you have stumbled upon this podcast episode after October 15th, 2025, you can just head over to inspiringheights.org/courses to check out the Strategic Reset, a 90-day framework to align your life, work, and capacity. I built this course because I myself was just so stinking tired of the roller coaster of goal setting, like stressing myself out for the first 2 weeks of January and then honestly like jumping ship because either my goals weren't in the right season or I just didn't feel like it anymore. And statistically, where more than 80% of New Year's resolutions fail, I know that I'm not alone in that. This approach to goal setting and planning has been life-changing for me, and I am super confident it will be for you too. All right, second up, start with your values. If you've tuned into the last 2 podcasts, you have heard me talk plenty about knowing your values and setting them as the anchored lens from which we build our goals. Now, I don't mean to overemphasize that point, but just allow me a quick second to make sure it is very big and clear. When we plan and we set goals that happen to be disconnected from our values, it's like putting a drawer in that isn't sitting on its tracks. Like it's going to slide back and forth for a while, but it's going to be bumpy. And you know that like awful screeching loud noise that happens when like wood and rubber meet? And then eventually it's going to get stuck or the wheels are going to break off. I want to take a second here to say that this step doesn't have to be overwhelming and it doesn't have to take days and hours to accomplish. Once we are clear on our values, it actually becomes a fairly simple and straightforward part of the process. We name our values, say on a sticky note or at the top of our goal setting page, and we just glance up at them each time we write a goal and we ask, does this align? If you haven't taken time to name your values, here's 2 quick words for you. 1, before you start setting your goals for the season ahead, take some time to do it. You won't regret it. Whatever time it takes you to accomplish now, it will save you tenfold in the future. I promise you that. 2nd, don't rush it and don't make it generic. Values, when we start thinking about them, we often associate with business. So we then have this tendency to sort of rush through them and keep them real generic. I'm not saying they have to be grains of sand, but what I am saying is you should know what you mean when you say that your values are things like family, faith, generosity, peace. Don't just choose some random words that sound good today or that fit a mold that you think you need to fit. Take the time that you need to really mull them over and make them personal. Step number 3, name your season. The understanding of seasons, like a true realization that what works today might not work tomorrow, or habits and routines that exist today might not exist tomorrow, or relationships that are thriving today might be cold tomorrow. That has taken me like actual years to grasp. And I honestly don't mean those things to come off nearly as negatively as they might sound. The truth of the matter is just simply this. Life changes, like all of the time it does. And coming to terms with this is a critical component of resting well, of living an aligned life and setting goals that can succeed. Let me give you the smallest of my real life examples. After the garden stops producing in the fall and the mornings are like chilly, like under 40 degrees chilly, I start to take my daily walks around lunchtime. So by that time of the day, the temperatures are usually coming to their peak. And so the excursion is just a little warmer, more enjoyable. And this routine remains in place until summer. See, in the summer, if I were to choose to ignore the season change and I kept taking my walks at lunchtime, I would be taking them in like the heat of the day when the temperatures have reached 95 plus degrees, and I would be #miserable. Instead, in the summer, I transitioned to taking my walks first thing in the morning, like when the temperature is between 60 and 70 and all those slimy snakes aren't out in full force yet. As I said, this is just one example. It just so happens to hone in on a physical season, but here's what we know. Our lives change inside and outside of physical seasons. So let me define this concept for you. Knowing your season just means that you hold an awareness of specific circumstances and hurdles and opportunities and time commitments in the days in hand. In the course, I walk you through how you really name your season. And actually, this is the first time I've ever outlined it in such great detail with guides throughout the entire process. Being able to name your season isn't just something that helps you with goal setting and planning, but it also helps with communication and commitments and leaning into habits and routines that will help you flourish right here and now instead of fighting against the changing current. What do goal setting, planning, and life all have in common? When we enter into them with strategy, clarity of mind, and vision, we give ourselves the opportunity to live present, right where our feet are. That is why I created my new course, The Strategic Reset, a 90-day planning framework to align your life, work, and capacity. I have poured over this course with so much excitement because this approach to goal setting and planning has truly transformed my life, and I am confident that it can change yours too. From now through October 14th, 2025 at midnight, I would love for you to join the Strategic Reset waitlist. By joining, you'll get access to the very best deals that I will offer when the course launches on October 15th. Just head over to inspiringheights.org/waitlist, enter your first name and your email address, and then I'll see you on the inside. I've also linked all this for you in the show notes. Step 4, get familiar with SMART goals and commit to using them. I am never ceased to be amazed at how many people will say something like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of SMART goals," and then proceed to tell me that their top goals are something like read more or grow the bottom line. This, again, is an area we deep dive into in the course, but let me give you a quick overview in case you are unfamiliar. SMART goals stand for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. And here's why we use them. Let's jump back on that business example. Grow the bottom line. Okay, first of all, what is the bottom line, right? This is important because what you look at and define as the bottom line and what I look at and define as the bottom line, they could be different. Are we talking about an annualized bottom line, a quarterly bottom line, a bottom line that excludes certain expenses because they're tax write-offs at the end of the year? I could go on and on and on and on, but you see my point here, right? We have to get specific about what we're actually referring to. The next thing is the word grow. What does grow mean here? Like, if we increase the bottom line by 1 cent, we technically would have accomplished the goal of increasing the bottom line. But my guess is we probably have something a little more significant in mind. Here's the next hurdle. By when are we hoping to accomplish this goal? See, if you run a business where the first quarter of the year is always a struggle with cash flow, but the last quarter of the year is always really heavy on income, by when can most certainly mean the difference between success or failure of the goal. The same gist of this argument can be made with pretty much any goal that lacks SMART attributes. What can I say? It's a gift. All joking aside, though, I have been in the strat planning and goal setting game long enough to determine that non-SMART goals are pretty much not worth setting. So, get familiar with SMART and then lean into the format as you set your next goals. Step number 5, decide how you're going to keep score. Can I tell you a secret? This step is real hard for me. In fact, I started a 90-day year on September 1st, and if I were being 100% truthful with you, I'm already reworking my scoreboard because my usual scoreboard method is not quite cutting it with my current goals. That being said, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that keeping score serves as both an accountability and this gamified mechanism that keeps me on target, which is why it's so important that I find one that works. Here's what I found out about keeping score. It might look the same for many, many seasons, and then you might come up on a season where what you've been doing isn't working right now. Hey, it's like taking us back to that whole seasons change thing, right? And remember, it's okay to change with the season. If you're thinking that keeping score sounds goofy or far off, let me reframe this for you quick. My guess is you already keep score in some form or fashion. Ever physically check something off of your to-do list or thrown away a sticky note when you finished what was on it? That is a version of keeping score. Scoreboards don't have to be overwhelming or beautiful to be helpful. They just have to be. I primarily use extra pages in my Golden Coil planner that set forth daily, weekly, and monthly goals, all with these handy dandy little checkmark boxes beside them. Now, in this season, I'm finding that I have some project based goals that aren't necessarily going to be getting worked on every week. And by only having them on my weekly to do list, it looks like I'm failing if I don't make space to work on them this week, when in reality, I might do double the work on them next week and be just as far. Hence, why my scoreboard for a few of my goals is just getting a mid year overhaul. Here's a few tricks I've learned about keeping score. Number one, you have to choose a method that puts the score in front of you daily. Don't utilize your old desktop computer that you boot up once on Sundays, or a notebook that you look at once a month when you're making your Costco grocery list. The second thing is, you have to choose a method you're actually going to stick with. I remember when I was early in my career and I had a lot of one-on-one meetings with a ministry partner who loved planners, like probably as much as I do. And her planners were beautiful. She used little stickers and highlighters and washi tape just to make the planner really pop. I wanted to be like that. I tried to be like that. And here's the deal. I love a good sticker, and I most certainly do color code my planner with highlighters and erasable pens. But I could just never quite sustain her level of planner decorating, no matter how delightful I thought it was. Our scoreboards follow that same principle. It has to fit into our life, otherwise we're going to neglect it. Keeping score is a cornerstone to successful goals because it quickly shows us where time, attention, and energy is required to keep the goal moving forward. You wouldn't watch a March Madness basketball game without a scoreboard, and we shouldn't set goals without them either. Friend, I am so excited for you. I hope you feel so much freedom to disregard January 1st. If you have hopes and goals and dreams and habits you're wanting to form and routines you're wanting to change, you do not have to wait. You can start right now. And you don't have to start over at the beginning of a calendar year. Don't forget to sign up for the waitlist or check out the Strategic Reset course on our website. It changes the game, and I can't wait for you to get your hands on it.
And that's a wrap. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Do you have questions, comments, or insights on today's content? I would love to hear from you. You can DM me on Facebook or Instagram, or head over to our website, inspiringheights.org, and click on the Contact Us form. I will link all those locations here in the show notes. P.S. If you haven't already, I would love for you to leave a 5-star rating and a quick review of the podcast. This helps get our content in the hands of new listeners. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter and follow us on social media for rhythmic doses of inspiration. All right, friends, take a deep breath and be inspired where your feet are. Bye for now.